Welcome back to Hey Kentucky. Now, if you were doing stuff with your family or maybe watching games this weekend, you missed what is arguably one of the craziest weekends in Kentucky politics we've seen in a long time. So I thought it would be good tonight to kind of go over what happened, get you caught up, and what it means for the future. Let's start with last Wednesday. The Courier-Journal reported that Kentucky Speaker of the House Jeff Hoover had secretly settled a sexual harassment claim against him. Now, details were not given about what this claim was, but it started a series of information that kind of continued through the week. Let's fast forward to the next day. A Jeff Hoover parody account, and yes, that does exist, released a series of text messages that showed an exchange allegedly between Hoover and a former member of his staff. This exchange was mostly flirtation. It seemed to go both ways, but it was inappropriate for somebody that was a subordinate to Speaker Hoover. So on Friday, the Republican caucus met, and they decided what to do about Hoover for the future. When the meeting was over, they came out and released a statement saying they had full support in Hoover and he would remain Speaker of the House. Now, some people clearly did not like that, and one of them was C. Wesley Morgan. Now, if you've watched this show, you know we've talked about Representative Morgan for a long time. He's from Richmond. And Saturday morning, he sent out a string of tweets that basically bust this story wide open. He said that the Speaker, members of leadership, and staff had conspired to cover up more than had been disclosed, and he mentioned that 3 more chairmen in the legislature were involved. He said that they allegedly threatened whistleblowers with job loss and physical intimidation. Now, this is the first time these allegations had been out, and with it coming from a sitting representative, things quickly moved in a different direction. All of a sudden, the House leadership completely reversed course and released a statement different from the day before that said, while they still supported Speaker Hoover, they now were launching their own investigation. Think about that for a second. After saying on Friday everything was fine, they immediately flipped because of tweets from one of their members. It makes you wonder what led to the original statement the night before. Then, later in the day, Governor Matt Bevin called for the resignation of, quote, every individual who has settled a sexual harassment case in the legislature. This, of course, is explosive because he knew that every member involved was a member of his party, and by saying it, he immediately kicked things into gear. I'll be honest with you, at that point, I thought all these folks would resign, but that's not what happened. Later in the night, Speaker Hoover sent out a message saying he was tired of the governor being, quote, judge, jury, and executioner on all issues when he doesn't have all the facts. And he even accused the governor of actually being motivated by the pension crisis instead of what happened. Well, that, of course, changed everything, and it looked like we would have a Bevin versus Hoover GOP civil war. But then, 8 GOP representatives in the House put out a statement demanding an investigation and saying they did not actually support Speaker Hoover anymore. Fast forward to Sunday. At 4 o'clock, Jeff Hoover called a press conference and resigned from his job as Speaker and said he will stay in the House but no longer take the lead. And in it, he once again mentioned that while he did something wrong, he felt like all of this was motivated by disputes over the pension. So where are we right now? Right now, all 4 members are still in the House. They, however, are not in leadership. Hoover has resigned, and the other 3 have been moved temporarily out of their posts. But this is the key, and we found this out today. An investigation is going on by the House and also the FBI to see if there was any intimidation or other tactics used to keep these folks quiet. If that happened, we're on a whole new level. And currently, the Speaker of the House is new, David Osborne. He will take the lead until the new session begins in January. So what does all this mean? Well, for you watching, it means one thing probably more than anything else. The pension debate in this state has changed. Jeff Hoover was probably the most moderate influence on the Republican pension plan, and he in many ways had been on the side of the teachers. Now he's gone, and you wonder what happens with Matt Bevin and his pension plan going forward. There likely will now not be a special session. The GOP is in disarray and they run the House. But I do wonder going forward if the loss of Speaker may mean Matt Bevin's original plan, which was probably more extreme than what was released, gets recreated and reinstituted. For teachers and those worried about the pension crisis, things have changed a lot. And for Speaker Hoover, he lost the job that he's looked for the last 17 years.